here with Maya Gorgoni, the founder of Royal Jelly, and she is so graciously hosting this conversation in her beautiful brownstone in Harlem. I'm thrilled to be here, not only because I'm a huge fan, love the masks, but I've heard so much about you for so long, and it's just an incredible opportunity to be able to sit here, get to know a little bit more. So I'm really curious, did you always know you wanted to be a fashion designer?
I actually didn't know. It's something that pretty much fell into my lap, I guess. I traveled a lot, as I always did growing up, and I would say it was my main source of inspiration. And falling in love with the beautiful textiles in Africa, going into the different countries, seeing all the beautiful colors in the marketplace was definitely something that struck me, and I felt compelled to share it. So it was an emotional moment for me, and I was like, this is something that I want to share. So it was actually on vacation following that with my mom that we were wearing our beautiful new pieces, and somebody at the restaurant we were at, who actually ended up being the owner, came over to us. I think we must have attracted her with our spirit and our color and our freeness, and she said, "This is what I want." She basically was like, "I want everything that you guys are doing right now, and I want it in my shop." So
amazing.
I know.
Well, I feel the same way as that restaurant owner. This is what we want, right? Beautiful fabrics, women-owned business. I love that you started it with your mom.
Yeah.
That's amazing. But also that sense that it's not just what it looks like, it's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And clearly that seems to be something that she was picking up on.
It's definitely a real feeling. It's an honest feeling. And we embody it. We wear it. We enjoy it. It gives us so much joy, and I think it's reciprocated, and people see it. It's like a mirror effect.
It's amazing, and my sense also is that people just come to you. You're not doing a whole lot of outbound.
What you put out, is also what you receive.
Yeah.
So I truly believe that, and manifesting that, and just kind of ingesting it yourself and just being honest about it, right? So,
yeah.
And people will see it, and then they'll be like, "Hey, I want that." So there's the magnetism about it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's authentic.
Yeah,
right there.
For sure.
It's
that was
authentic.
maybe the word I was missing.
Yeah. Well, it's who you are. It's what you embody, and I think regardless of what kind of industry any of us are in, when we are authentic,
right,
people pick up on it.
100%.
And then it is, as you said, really magnetic. I'm also curious about the name. Where did the name come from?
My name is Maya. There's a cartoon named Maya the Bee. So I always knew it wasn't quite very popular here in the States. It was very popular internationally. It was translated in every language. And growing up, my nickname was Maya the Bee. So the bee and things associated with bees were always going to be a part of my brand. I always loved it as, a logo, and so it kind of grew around that. And then, of course, wanting to represent Harlem. Although I was born and raised here in New York, I grew up downtown, but I came to Harlem, I would say about 13 years ago, and it was the energy here that I felt kind of compelled, was the catalyst to do something more. So that's
amazing.
Kind of why it all came together.
So when did you found the company?
2011, February.
So this is your 10-year anniversary.
Literally right now. Oh, February, right now, 10 years.
Happy anniversary. So maybe instead of our tea, we should be having champagne.
All the time.
All right, so for our next conversation. So you've been in business 10 years, which is an amazing feat given how many businesses go under early on.
Oh, for sure.
Talk to me a little bit about some of the challenges that you've faced as you've grown.
Right.
And we can be specific about the pandemic, which we're in right now.
Yeah.
I don't know whether we're the beginning, the middle, the end of it. But I'm really interested. I work with a lot of my coaching clients on what I refer to as transformational growth. And transformation is different than change, right? Change is maybe doing something differently, but transformation is really learning from things, growing through them, and coming out slightly differently. And I believe that that's what successful businesses over time do.
For sure. The flexibility in life and in business is like so important. So the transformation and the pivot for us was for sure, the masks and trying something new, even though it at the time wasn't exactly, I wasn't, since I am 100% made in New York City, the contractors, myself and my business, the contractors put a minimum on me. Like last year, April, people, one, were very scared. They didn't need to come into work. They didn't want to. They were scared to come to work. And he was like, listen, if you want me to do this, you're gonna have to have like 1,000-piece minimum. And right, so I was like, that's heavy for me. That's like a risk, you know what I mean? But in hindsight, obviously, I'm happy with having taken that risk and the push that he made me maybe just to think bigger, like, what's 1,000? 1,000's nothing really, right? In the context of the amount of people, right? So I was like, all right, fine. Let's choose a few different colors, few different prints and textures, and give an option, change it up because I had to do better, right? I had to do better than what was out there.
Yeah.
Now I was competing with how many people, and I also was like, what's the point? Everyone's done it. I don't want to get tied in. He's making me do 1,000 units, whatever. But I did it. I changed it up. I also realized what they weren't doing, and I did that. And that turned into, the best, risk I could have made.
Amazing, amazing. I often talk about having a sense of mission in work. And because I come out of a background, the first part of my career in nonprofits, it's easy to think about mission. But what I've learned over the past decade of my business, which is only a year older than yours, actually like 4 or 5 months, is that you can bring a sense of mission to anything. And it sounds to me like you have a sense of mission at Royal Jelly Harlem.
Yeah.
And that it seems to be about place, right? About Harlem, but also about place in terms of where you get your fabrics and what you're representing. So just talk to me about, like, does that resonate for you? Do you feel like you have it and you can kind of impart it to the people with whom you work as well as to whom you sell?
Well, okay, so there's 2 stages in this process, obviously, right? So the fabrics that are mainly from West Africa, Ankara wax, I purchase them from African wholesalers here. Once again, everything here.
Yep.
I realized early on, I was like, okay, the whole import, the customs, it's a lot. Let me simplify what I'm trying to do. So I was like, if we were going to maintain the 100% made in New York City, then let's do that. So early on, we did work with African-born dressmakers, and I even there was like a small tailor here in Harlem that did most of our early samples.
Nice.
And so since we've grown, we decided that, okay, we need a bigger volume. We're going to have to take this to the garment district. I've now worked with at least 3 contractors, mainly over the 10 years. Recently also, continued to work with the original contractors, as much as possible, working with women as well, which is a big deal, right? And, I can tell that maybe because I don't have a technical background in fashion. I did not go to school for it, but they are the technical, and I bring to them maybe these ideas that they didn't see, right?
Nice,
The creativity that is missing because I'm not as technical. I really think that they enjoy the process with me. So
Amazing.
Ultimately, I guess, like my mom always said, we sew a little bit of love into all of our pieces. So if that's our mission and our mission alone, then for sure I think what I want to underline.
I think that comes across, and I want to riff on what you just said about enjoy, because I have been following you on social media, I've been wearing your beautiful masks, and there's a lot of warmth that comes through. And now meeting you for the first time face to face, that warmth is like, whoosh, like on steroids, and the joy. So talk to me a little bit about like what brings you joy in the work, because I can feel it.
There's so much energy.
Right, I can feel it, but I would love other people to sort of understand how you either create it or tap into it.
Ultimately, I'm always just going to gravitate toward, you know, the colors, and I do very much believe in color therapy, and the differences where, you know, yes, you can be just monotone, of course, but to pair, I mean, to very
Except the red lipstick.
but the color, it's really fun for me to color and match print, you know, like it's like a contrast but a match. The layers of that is very fun. I do enjoy very much shopping for fabric. Maybe I buy too much, but yeah, I would say my joys where I get like my butterflies are gonna always be sourcing fabrics, shopping at the smaller, you know, mom and pop shops in the garment district, especially for dead stock or vintage items. I'm very much, you know, inspired by vintage silhouettes as well, and they definitely play their part in some of our silhouettes.
So you started this with your mother. You have a daughter.
I do.
What does she make of all of this? How does she interact with you, her grandma, the company?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. She's great. Like, thank God for her. She has brought so much joy into all of our lives, for sure. And I mean, I think she enjoys it. I also see through her creativity, and I want to believe that it's passed down. So, you know, I want to continue to encourage that and that freedom. And no, I mean, it's funny to hear her sometimes say, like, that's my mommy's things. Like, she recognizes, like, or she'll be like, oh, that's my mommy's work. And I'm like, I never thought of what I was doing as, like, my career or, like, this is my job. Because it was just something that initially was a hobby, but turned into so much more. And it's still so much fun, so.
Amazing. You know, there's so much talk now about people, you know, find your passion, find your purpose. It sounds like yours arrived in a restaurant one day with your mom.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, first of all, I also believe that it can be always evolving. It's never, it shouldn't. You should always be evolving, right?
Yeah.
So, and staying flexible, right? And going in your highs and your lows, right? But yeah, I mean, sometimes it's not foreseen, it's not planned. And I think that's just important to allow for the, you know, the ebb and flow and kind of just pay attention to your surroundings or things that make you, you know, happy. So you might not realize it even. And then all of a sudden you're like, you know, every time I'm around that flower shop or something, right?
Yeah.
I feel this, I feel that. Like, you just have to maybe pay attention to the clues and your instincts. So
Maybe you should be a coach. That was awesome. I couldn't have said it any better. I'm so glad that we finally had a chance to meet. I have a feeling this is going to be the first of many conversations.
I hope so.
Thank you for inviting me here and letting us shoot in your gorgeous home. This conversation has been so enlightening to me, and I think for people who are listening to it, who are wondering, where am I going to find that inspiration? You've given incredible examples of the places it can come from and also the places you can take it.